This is what happens when you're raised in like conservative Christian homes and you can't tell when someone will swing it any which way. But anyways, um, they did this story and they're bringing Ashton up again, and he was one of my top topics, and I've already done a thing on him. And why would he be questioning this? Like, it's really weird. But no, he's not who he tries to present himself as. But yet, when you go back, is he really presenting himself as any good person? Um, Partially no, and partially yes. When he starts doing that fake crusade of human trafficking, when all his friends are human traffickers, yeah, this isn't a thing where somebody doesn't know. It's just these men need to get a damn mirror, and some people think that he's helping cover it up. Okay, well, this allegation has been on somebody else that wanted to start targeting me on here, and everybody knows who that is. And yes, I believe that that may actually be the truth over there, indeed. And some of these other celebrities want to help them out. And I question, like, why they want to join in a bully pack of people. Well, you don't know what's going on over here. But anyways, as I've been really busy and dealing with some other garbage, I've actually been tackling this topic elsewhere. So this is my top topic because this hit home for me personally. And I want you guys to pay attention to every single detail in these cases that they're pretty much all connected together. And mostly when we're bringing up gangbanger LASD and the photo things that I got, do you guys know that I figured out who that person is? Not their full name. I got I believe I got some of the name, but I can't exactly put it all together right now. That person who's missing photo album, that is a security guard of some sort, some type of agent dude, something, with a possible paparazzi friend. Something, okay? Something weird on that thing. We're still trying to locate the guy so I can return it to him. But it gave us some insight. One that is pretty in your face of what's going on there, but um, them using radio to watch people, okay? Um, this was in the 90s, and the photos in there actually show what the mechanism looked like, what they were using. And some of them are very different than the wire ones. So they had some wireless type, something in this mid 90s portion, which is actually the time that I actually started going to these shows and stuff, and these people were doing stuff. And I was like, yeah, I just didn't think of it. And I'm putting this out there for other victims, mostly victims from maybe in the 90s portion and earlier, that were dealing with these celebrities and then how they were stalking us, and then how they can strategically hide us from other people at the same venue. Because there was multiple places that you can go in the backstage area, and mine was always more or less situated where I was away from people and not really with the fans. There was a couple times I could mingle with the fans, but did I mingle with the fans? No. But the one with my three other pals at the time, we were pretty much in the mix of everyone on that show. I wasn't secluded out because obviously I have friends there, so the perpetrator's not going to be, you know, here go in a corner. It would be a little bizarre, right? But they did do that with the one show. There was another girl with me at the time who, yeah, they sat us at this table. I always forget that this girl was actually with me, but no, there was another girl with me. So I have another witness to that. So no, it isn't. I don't get along with her though. Um, but if they questioned her, I mean, it would just be stupid. I mean, it's just like, what, you gonna lie about going to a show? So yes, that was one main portion of the mechanisms, the technology that they were using. And today, I don't know what they're using today. Everything's going to be very small and wireless, and you probably won't even notice that they have something in their ear so much as you did back in the 90s portion. But even then, as I was looking at the guy's mechanism, I'm looking at his mechanism. um, I still would have missed it if I wasn't looking for it, because it's just a black thing that's hooked towards his glasses that goes right into his ear. And if he wasn't dressed in the suit too, the suit thing kind of, I don't know, but it is a more of an upscale event at most of these events. So, no, you would have to look for it. I mean, you would. You'd have to kind of see what they're doing and look for it. But yeah, most of the time when you guys think of that stuff, you see it with the one thing in the ear, like they have a headphone thing in, and then there's like a wire that'll either hang all the way out or they have it tucked in their vest thing, in their jacket, in their blazer. And no, but his wasn't. And they were holding a walkie-talkie. So this was another thing in the photos. I just want to share this as we're talking about this topic right here because it's correlated together and some conduct and how they were kind of doing this stuff. And in the mix of that, LASG, the gangbangers at the time, also had the walkie-talkie thing, the same exact ones. And I'm looking at the photos and I'm like, well, I don't know if the guy is like an undercover sheriff or if I don't think he's a sheriff. But he could be some other thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just looking at it because there was a tail off to it for me to think about something because they had a joke type of thing inside this thing. Is all I could say about it. And I was debating, should I show this? Should I not? What is this about? Because there's like a nickname on it, and it's like trying to, like there's some type of secret agent type of thing. And I was like, well, they're kind of looking like, when you see the president and, you have those dudes over there, a little like that. And I was like, I don't know, man. And so I don't know what agent, I don't know. It's weird because the photos go back to the 70s and maybe even in the 60s, and they are some are very casually just him talking with Leif Garrett and when he was young, when he was very young. I love this picture though because this is when I love Leif Garrett, like I like that whole disco thing at the time. um just the thing about it, and I was like, I love this picture because they're just casually talking and he's just talking and he has like a girl next to him. I don't know. The girl looks, I don't know who the girl is, but anyway, they're just talking like casually and they look very similar to each other. They look similar age. And somebody thought it was Scott Baio, the girl that, the person that has to do with finding this thing, thought it was Scott Baio. And I go, that's not Scott Baio, dude. It's funny because the early pictures and the poses and the early stuff, it kind of gives you that, thing of kind of like Scott Baio, but they totally sexually kind of exploited Scott Baio, and he's a hot mess too, okay? But the early portions of stuff was really creepy, and the marketing for a lot of those men were towards other men. Yeah, Teen Beat. I was like, I can't even believe somebody came up with something called that. But as we're talking about Ashton is like the same way. Like, so I think he got into modeling or something. He got into some field, right? And for us women, a lot of those agencies like kind of turned human trafficking, some of those things. There was a big lure into that whole modeling universe, and I've talked about our thing over here and everything and all that. But with Ashton, okay, so I guess the Americans missed this documentary. Okay, so they had links to Jeffrey Epstein, but so did Kevin Spacey's little site over there too. But his claim, we gotta go by his claim. His claim is he didn't even know who they were, and but he made up a story saying he was scared of how the guy was around Clinton, and yet he has Secret Service. So, I mean, what are you going on about? See, and we're talking about the Secret Service agents and the security, because all those guys know who's in the vicinity of each person because they're hired to do a job. And these are the people that knew who I was. And so this is where it matters in this story, and everybody else can go, you know what, okay? So those people, when I would show up, allegedly, I guess they totally knew who I was and they were fine with it and they would let me in. I never had a problem of anybody trying to stop me or doing any weird thing. The only time I didn't get in is because I didn't have a pass and I had to contact somebody from the inside. So I had to tell one of them. And so one of them went and got those people and then they came back. So they were cooperative. It was the only time, and that was at the very last show, in fact, because I had my ex-boyfriend with me, which I talked about. But beyond that, I've always been able to bring in any person that I wanted as long as they got the pass. If they got the thing from the will call or from the camp given to me to give to them, they were always able to go back, okay? So, but I was never questioned about who the people are or them grilled, like who's coming back here. That has never happened outside the context of me bringing a male with me. They do not know who that male is. So I have a guy friend with me, and this is the only time ever, you guys, that I was ever questioned who is that person. So as you're looking at Ashton here in these photos, I don't want to show all of, I mean, I don't want to go on this thing because I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I don't know. I showed links before to Getty, and I don't know if that is a reason why some people were trying to target me. I don't know. Because you have to buy those photos and then use them, and I don't know, just the whole thing. So I don't want to mess too much with that, and that's why I'm not posting pictures right now from the ones that I got, because when I was looking at the photos, there's square things around them. And I know that when people do that, they're trying to blow, like they want to blow this area up. And I don't know if it's for personal reasons, but usually I see it for professional reasons. Because like, the average person, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know any normal person that has done that other than professional photographers and stuff, but anyways, I seen a couple of pictures like that in there, and there was some that looked like there were some copies that I go, oh, maybe they had sold it to a like like the Sun or something, right? Because like those type of magazines where it shows like somebody like walking on a beach or something, and they're like, we got the guy out, doing this thing. Yeah, there was like a picture like that with a copy, and then there was a guy on the bottom, which I think may be the guy that the pictures are around. And there's multiple parties in these photos, so it has to do with like a group of guys. It's like the security guy and then the person taking the photos, and then it looks like it's either his sister or his woman. They almost look kind of related, so I was like, I don't know if that's his sister or his woman, but either or. So I don't know if she's the one actually taking the photo. She could be. It could be somebody else because there's like 3, 4, 5 other guy friends of theirs throughout, these decades of photos that I was like, I don't know who it is, but they were definitely centered around the security guy. And I go, how interesting that the security guy is getting tons of photos with all these celebs. And I would almost think that that would feel or be somewhat unprofessional. This is my opinion because when we worked on set, we were not allowed to just run around and talk to everybody and do all these things because people are there for work, right? So when I'm looking at that, it's just kind of like, isn't it sort of the same thing? Like you get a job to protect them, but you're going to be like just fanning out and taking all these photos with people that you're supposed to be watching out for. I don't know. It's a thing like that. But anyway, this huge thing. Now, strangely, in this big, huge book, there was no pictures of Ashton. There was no pictures of any of those guys, but there was Tom Cruise, the other Scientologist, and he looked crazy as hell in these pictures. Just on a normal, like, see, if I saw him on a normal day, like these pictures are, his face is crazy. He looks nuts. Like, he looks manicky. And there's a couple other people that look like that in these photos, but yeah, there was no Danny Masterson. There was no that. And there was no Mila. There was oh, the people from all the girls from Friends. There was whatchamacallit, oh, a few from 90210. Okay, so but not Shannon. I don't know why. There was Matthew Perry, and then Ian, of course, him, and some other people from that show, and oh, Tori Spelling. Tori didn't look too happy. It was kind of weird. Yeah, there was a number of other people. Like, there was a lot that I had actually worked with, and then there was some that I actually was on tour with when that they went on tour, the other people, and they actually had a picture of Janie Lane, and I was like, that's oddball in the mix of this. But I found out because they were also going to the music awards, and I go, oh, okay, this is starting to make sense. I was so oddball that I was trying to like, why do you have all these like actors and then randomly Janie? It was like that. And then when I was going through it some more, then I found Mr. Kitties. Like I found Mr. Kitties in there. Okay, so if you guys didn't see the documentary on Abercrombie and Fitch, okay, so they are gay monsters. I'm like, they're the gay monsters. They didn't like this. I think some people really don't like this term. I go, no, they're gay monsters. Diddy's a gay monster. Like, what the hell? He's beyond that. So yeah, these guys, all these guys, I'm saying all these guys. But have you seen this picture of Ashton in his early days of these photos here? And you were a guy that's into other men as well. Wouldn't you think he's totally down with it? I mean, come on. I mean, look at this. If I that picture is not for women. I mean that's actually scary for women. That's like, oh my God, we're gonna get gang raped. I mean that picture there. That picture is geared towards males and target marketing. So marketing, the marketers, people that market, like the people that market. No, these companies, these brands are very specific and what person they're trying to market and target for, right? And um that is targeted towards men. I mean, just men generally. And it was probably another way for that perverted owner too to get his like rocks off on getting like these guys half naked because people were talking about this. And I go, I don't know anything about this store. And apparently everybody else does, but just not me. Yeah, that's just how it goes. But no, if I seen this picture, I'd just be like, oh yeah, that store's really, it's geared towards gay men. Good for them. It would have been like a thing like that. LGBTQ all day. Yay. You know? So if you were that guy, you would be like, yeah, and you would try to probably pick him out. So Diddy probably, called him up, he's like, hey, come over, doing like the Michael thing. The Michael thing was just as bad because he was trying to lure in young girls as well. So that was a thing where they used their lawyer, and I've been trying to go at all those things. I went at all those things because apparently, I mean, I'm a victim too. I'm like, apparently. So I kind of know what was at play, and I'm trying not to overlook something because there's a lot of things in this that, such as the radioing thing. I was like, I didn't even think about it. For some reason, I'm thinking like they had like cameras, like security cams, right? But technology back then wasn't as, all over the place as it is today. And I was trying to like figure out like how did they know like my every move? Like how did they know that? Like I'm literally in crowds of thousands of people and I've talked about this multiple times. I go, you know how hard it is when you lose your friend in a place like that and it takes forever to even find them, if you could even find them by the end of the night? And let alone you walking in and somebody just randomly bumping into you. And, this was something where I had a friend of mine with, and yeah, I was like, yeah, so yeah, very much they could use security for that thing. And the security are placed around the place, and when they know when I come in. I was like, how do they know I'm even there? Like, that's the other thing. Like, how do they know I'm even there? Like, we came to the front and all of a sudden, like, they came out. And it was like, what the hell? So the topic hasn't been about celebrities stalking us. Did we always look at it, or they look at it, in the way that fans look at it, a lot of times because you're not thinking, I don't know, It's one of those things. It's just the reversal of this topic where these men have been stalking us and they've used a lot of meat, mostly with someone with a lot of money to be able to do those things. And they've used lawyers to do those things. They've, used, I guess, these security guys to do those things while you're at the venues, regardless of where that's at. And other people, possibly other fans, possibly other friends, possibly all these other things. So, and in some of these stories that I've read with these guys, it's kind of the same thing. It's like this turned out to be this is normal, and I was like, actually it's not, and it's totally creepy when I'm looking back at the early portions of things, and it's uncomfortable. And no, they were talking about how, oh, they saw this one girl, and then so they really wanted to meet her, so then they did all these things to go and like stalk them out and go and meet them and stuff like that. I don't know. I think there's like a fine line to those things because I don't know, like they've been using their power to go, oh, I like this model and she's like literally a minor or something. I don't know, just any type of model. And they're like, I want her on the set because I want to hook up with her and I'm going to try to marry her. Like something like that. That's their MO. But you don't know their MO. You think you're getting hired for a job and you're totally happy that you get to go work with this person. And then they get to the set, and the next thing you know, the guy's cheating on his wife and being with the model, right? So we heard that story too. So I was like, yeah, there's a lot of problems up in here. So those same issues would also be for men, where a guy would see this guy right here and go, oh, model, oh, I want to meet him, boom. So I don't know if that's exactly how they met. I don't, but that's going on. Mostly when you go into the Abercrombie and Fitch thing, that thing is scary as hell. And that was for all men. That was a pretty much predominantly male victim story in this thing in the LGBTQ community for gay males. And then I guess some of them were not gay. But then I also there was a snippet that I took from this movie where they were talking about the football culture and how they didn't want to be any part of that, and the dad was trying to turn them into a man by playing football, something like that. And I go, thank you for even bringing that into the story, because that's exactly the bullshit right there. And that's why a lot of those guys are a huge problem. There's a whole thing to that. And I believe that this documentary, though, wasn't it in the UK? I had to sign up for things to get to see these certain documentaries that were released from the UK on the Channel 4 thing. And so this guy was also linked to Jeffrey Epstein. That's right. The CEO guy, yeah. So the CEO, and Taylor Swift was actually in this stuff as well. I don't believe Taylor Swift was down with, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for any of these people. I just know that she's tone deaf sometimes. But I don't think that she would be, okay, she's tone deaf sometimes. She chronically, what does she do? I don't hate the girl. I just want to say that. I'm being extra critical because of certain things that she's being tone deaf about, mostly with Kamala. Kamala is the Ashton Kutcher of California. The Ashton Kutcher of California. Yes, but I'm not the only victim of that thing over there. So no, I don't believe that she would promote any type of conduct like that. But I don't know. I mean, it may be one of those things where they look back on it and go, God, I wish I didn't do it. And then they weren't a part of that dark otherworld, because the dark otherworld in this thing was them taking them and leading them out into a place and then setting them up to be in a big group of men, okay? And it didn't, for somebody, it didn't turn out really well at all. It was actually effed up. And I did not hear Ashton speak out on this at all, and it's pretty apparent from the photos that this is geared towards men, okay? This is geared 1000% towards men. And he's just like, hee hee ha ha, if I was gay, he would say things like this. And then he was caught with he was caught preying on Mila, the minor at the time. And then all his friends are rapists and human traffickers. Okay, so those are his pals. And then the question of the serial killer, I was like, I don't know how to answer that one. It's so oddball that it is. He's the dumbest thing on earth, but is he playing dumb here to get away with something? I don't know, you guys. It is because these people are so dark. Diddy's allegedly part of killing other people, so at least shooting other people as well. And we have his buddy here who had a girl that he was supposed to take to a party and just said F it and then left. And they allegedly got in a fight, right? You know, once you get in a fight and then somebody dies, it's usually the person that got in a fight with them that killed the person. So in this case, it was like, oh, they got in a fight. They didn't want to talk. And then he goes to the house. She doesn't answer. Then he looks around and he's like, I saw red and I just assumed it was wine. So I left. I'm just like, I don't believe this story on any level. I can't believe anybody's this idiotic. Because if you're worried about somebody and they don't want to open the door and all of a sudden you see something red, like your first sign is like, I hope nothing bad happened to them because they're not answering. But he's claiming that he saw wine and then he just left. He thought it was wine and he just left. And I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense. And he's like, I'm just going to go party. Yeah, and so somebody during this portion when they were talking about the story and him defending Danny, made some statement that they're like something about it's gonna if everybody knew about you some something something something. And I was like, it's gonna come out. Like already, like what's right here is bad. It already tells his character, so I could tell you what type of person he is. That's it. That's all I need to know is those things right there. Because it's saying he had no care for the girl to begin with. She's just an object, and he just figures, well, I'm gonna go party and go find somebody else. That's his thing. And then the story with him and Demi Moore is totally crazy. It's totally backwards. And then he like dangled drinking to somebody who's an addict. It's just like, what the hell's wrong with you? So that tells you something else about him, and that he'll get people drunk. And also, was anything even consensual in that relationship? You know, mostly if somebody's getting drunk all the time and they're an addict and you're actually doing things with them, it actually would be non-consensual most of the time. But anyway. And Diddy is another one that keeps calling him, he's a wannabe Dom. And this is why men were not hired in that industry, in the public business of that, because all these men, I'm like, all these men are the problem. And you would learn about male supremacy through that thing. That's why people are probably like, what are you talking about? Why are you calling everybody that? What's this and that? And they don't know the terminology, or they don't understand what its origin is and what it means to be that and all this stuff. It's about male power. It's about men believing that they're the leaders of the universe. And then they want that power so they can take control and ruin your careers, which we hear some men up here crying about that, but they don't give a crap about women. They'd like to put themselves in this whole different category, like, oh, we didn't partake in that. But he destroyed my career. It's like, oh, should we start saying that you just wanted money? And, you know, this whole thing, because that's what they've been saying about us, right? Because they have double standards here. So if you okay it on our gender, just generally, it's going to happen to you, because that means that the person is totally fine doing it to anybody. That's just all that means. I mean, anybody that's ridiculous is going to do that to you, and they're going to do that to all women. And the whole problem with this whole thing has to revolve around men and how they view women. And Ashton is a disgusting pig. And Mila's just a groomed girl, and she's going to keep going on that way. She was groomed since she was a kid, going on like that with these people. So, you know, sometimes, you know, they wake up and they get out of it, but the rest of the time, they pretty much are just groomed and they become evil, vindictive bullies. And then Russell Simmons, like, which Russell are we going to talk about? Russell Simmons. Yeah, so Russell Simmons has a very long history of stuff, and he's so annoying to me. He's like this pathetic bottom feeder who chronically is like, you need to see the good in us, okay? You need to see the good in us and forgive us and everything else and all this stuff. And then, yet he should be in jail just alongside of Diddy. Apparently, he was his Diddy, Russell was his mentor or something. They were talking about him and a couple other people. And I was like, yeah, I mean, if you learn from Russell, then yeah, you're probably going to be a total slimeball. But okay, so here's the thing. Diddy did not become like that because of Russell Simmons. They're just two idiots that they both have personality disorders that got along very well because they're a match made in hell. And the people that are so power hungry typically have these personality disorders to this type of level. And so it's just that they are in agreement with each other. He didn't turn him into a raping monster or something. Diddy was always like that since a kid. So this problem starts off as a kid. It is not a problem that starts off in adulthood. It's not a problem that starts off as a teen. It is something that is grown inside a child up in those early years, and it's a mindset. So the mindset. Any person that you're in a room starts talking about you like an object, it's an obvious flag of who those people are. And I do not like any of it. And I never did. And the problem was never me. The problem is everybody else. I mean, this is one of the true statements of it. Not that I'm like a narcissist and I can't take responsibility. You know what I mean? It's actually the truth of the story is that the problem was never me. The problem is everybody else. That is the truth. And this is towards all victims of this that did not go and rape everybody out here and do all these things, because a lot of these people that they're kind of on both sides of the fence of that thing. But the mindset right there is about a personality disorder from childhood. So 1,000%. It is not something that's a mistake. It is not, these are not mistakes. I can't believe somebody said these things are mistakes. That's actually a major flag to some major mental health issues. And the world has been operating under the mental illnesses of men. And to combat that is quite difficult because, number one, they don't see anything wrong with themselves, and nor do they want to fix themselves. And number three, it's not curable. So because there's a non-curable aspect to this stuff, it's a little hard to go around these types of humans because a lot of them are in government. And since we have them in government and they're a bunch of psychotics, it's very difficult to change laws to make it a much safer place for us. And so there's been people defending this to no end. Even in the comments section here, I made a few comments, and yeah, I had to bring up somebody else because that person that tried to take me down over here was also accused of helping out human traffickers. And I go, yes, there's a lot of people in here that present themselves as a total victim, and then they have a slew of victims that they made, okay? And at the same time, you start seeing their circle, and when you start seeing a million people in the circle start going down, you know they're bullshit. So I've never had it where there was a bunch of people in my circle and all of a sudden they got busted for human trafficking. And I was like, I had no idea that guy was in doing that because I wouldn't get along with them. Because the mentality that it takes to do that and treat other people that way is an act of degrading me. And so when they start doing that, we don't get along right away. And they used to always blame me for this. And I go, no, I'm not dealing with a guy that's going to sit there and treat me like a piece of meat. And he's not respecting me when I'm talking to him. And we have a lot of government men that have this major problem. That is a mental health issue, and that those people need to go. You can't fix that. Those people need to go. And so we have this problem because when I've been trying to fight with government to go at this, They want to sit there and debate with me that this is all okay and fine. So this is just for public knowledge. I mean, I don't know what the hell. You guys didn't do anything or what? Because the conversations with them chronically has always been, we don't see anything wrong with this behavior. So as far as I'm concerned, this is actually a cop was saying this over here. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything wrong with this behavior, whatever's going on. It's like, wow, okay. I've been actually trying to deal with these boards and stuff like that for like a long time. And again, it's them okaying this conduct, is sexual misconduct as well. And this is the debate. It's not that I'm lying. It's not these things. It's that these men see this conduct as okay. And that we should ignore it. That's another one. We should just ignore it. Yeah, like when your daddy touched you and you ignored it. So therefore, go rape everybody and just ignore it. Yeah, so this is the stuff that's going on. So anyway, that's what I have to say on this right now. But if you want to see any more in-depth things, go read my other site, the Insta thing over there. Because I did tons of posts. Like I'm putting tons of comments. Because I'm really busy right now and I'm behind on work. And I didn't want to do a whole long thing and have to edit all this stuff for weeks on end. I'm still kind of catching up on this bullshit from this other incident that happened here. And, we have more stuff coming in, like I said, with the photo thing, because I was like, wow, it's almost like a miracle it came into my lap. Because there was multiple pictures of Kevin, but there was only a couple. Not that they have this like major connection with each other, but it's just showing the dynamics here and how like, it's very easy to have people cover for you. And they can hide, a lot of people could be hiding tons of pictures. Like this guy just happened to get his stuff stolen, I guess. But you probably wouldn't even have known that. The security guy has tons of pictures, with him with all these people. And evidence is everywhere. It's just trying to figure out where that evidence is. And the security guards up in here are so corrupt. You need to be careful. You need to be really careful with this thing. Because mostly with the tie with the gang member sheriffs, that thing right there is very deep, dark, and foul. And that deals with government, and those are the areas that I was trying to tackle. Because if government's not operating properly, then you can't get organized crime. If government is also organized crime, then forget everything. Which right now we're in the forget everything. Because even right now with them, we arrested him, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take down what's going on here. You're only talking about one person out of like thousands and thousands of men. And I already know there's thousands and thousands of men.